Good morning, everyone. My name is Anne-Marie Band. Today's Tuesday, April the 30th. It is the last trading day of the month. It's also just one day prior to the Fed day. So I will say this, some load rebalancing does occur on days like today. And many traders I know who've been trading a very long time will not trade on the last day of the month. They will choose other activities for themselves, whether it's studying or whatever. We seem to have just gotten a piece of news that moved us very quickly down. Let's see what that is. Let's go to Econo Day and see what news we were set up to hear. Employment Cost Index. That seems like a non-event. All right, whatever the case, this is perfect. It's dropped us right to the bottom of the band, and this will tell us a lot about how to look at the trading space. Have a look. So here's our bounce zone. It's faded through that level. It is now at yesterday's VWAP and fading through that level, coming into 51.27. This is not how you catch a falling knife. Notice this up to flat, that's the 14-day, the 14 period EMA. 51.27 is a support zone. So you could say to yourself, hey, listen, if I see it bouncing off that zone, I'm going to buy there. But your stop would have to be down at 51.19. That's pretty far, right? So maybe you wait a little bit until it stops moving down. This is absolutely perfect for a pre-market event. Let's take a peek at the 5-minute so that you can see what price action looks like when it's, let's take a 2-minute, when it's actually trying to stop heading lower. Okay, so it's still in the process of its move. You can see that 51.19 is my line in the sand. 51.27 is where I think the buyers will re-engage, but this big drift down gives us 7 points of risk. We might not want to do that unless we're trading another kind of price action event, right? So here it is, first candlestick. This is a 2-minute candlestick formation. It's telling us I'm still in the process of that fade, right? Potentially lifting, still not up over 51.27, but this is how we use a price line to say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trade once a formation gets built that says, 1, I'm not headed lower, 2, I've broken above a key line of support, and 3, any of my pullbacks have given me a higher low. Right now, it's potentially forming, but if you buy this, you are catching a falling knife. You have to wait for it to frame itself out before you step in. Don't be a hero. Let the price action do its thing and give it some time to create a formation that says, hey, I'm not headed lower. I'm going to look like this. All right? Great morning opportunity for action. I love that. That was perfect. All right, let's take a look at the lines in the sand. There is still a call wall at 51.50. We're still trying to hold this edge right over here. 51.27 is a zone people are thinking that there's going to be more selling if it doesn't recover from that space. And then we drop to 51.19 and 51.04. I believe the market is in a very sideways patch, and there's a lot of price action that's going to fake people out. Deep dips are still going to get bought, and deep spikes or big spikes are still going to get sold. That is my premise sitting in this particular formation. All right, but we continue to see it fade. We know that we have downside pressure here from momentum, so they're simply looking for the place where buyers go, you know what, that's cheap enough for me to nibble, and it's probably going to be yesterday's low, which is around 51.19, but above 51.27, they'll start moving again. Let's take a look at the NQs. Pretty much the same thing going on. Here is where they're currently sitting. This is yesterday's VWAP close, and this is the day before. Notice the heavy congestion here. Could we put a box right around this area? Potentially, we could. We could clone this line and say, you know, let's have a peek to see if it'll hold this heavy congestion. But it's pretty wicky, so my thought is, though it might come in and hold yesterday's low, this does look a bit weaker than the others, right? I sure hope AMD can do a better job of lifting this, because this is not in good shape. That being said, up over that edge, 17,826 it's back in this channel / box. So those of you watching me on Top Step TV, you know I'm using a GAN box as opposed to a channel. Channels are harder, but TrendSpider does not have the GAN box. Okay, so what are we doing? We're waiting for it to stop heading lower, to stabilize a little bit. It puts it right inside of this box. Trend is up to flat. That means the deep dips, even though momentum is negative, the deep dips will find buyers. The line in the sand, potentially 17,770 right now. All right, let's take a look at the YM. For those of you that are interested in the RTY, you can zoom in and see those levels. They're there also. The YM is stopping right on our edge. Yesterday's low. A lot of people are going to come in and try and buy this, right? Let's see how they're doing. Let's see if they're doing all right with this bounce. All right, take a look, right? Failing to head lower. Pretty low volume down here though, right? It's got to close a candle above the key line in the sand, right? Potentially it's actually above here at 38,415, and then your stop is going to be down here at these lows. But you could buy the dip here and cross your fingers. You just don't want to buy with any kind of reckless abandon unless you're scalping, and then I still think it's not the right thing to do. It's got to close a candle over this line, and so far it's just wiggling around, but it has stopped heading lower, and that's how you're going to know that, hey, buyers are nibbling in and saying to themselves, you know what, I might try a little bit there. We can see that we're right in the middle of another channel, and that channel is divided into pieces, and that is the first part of the break. The midline is really all the way down here at this 38,300, but they are going to try and hold that 38,400. Okay, clean lines, messy price action today. Remember, last day of the trading month, and the FOMC begins a meeting today, and so that's going to be super noisy. All right, let's take a look at, oopsie. Let me just remove this channel for the meantime. Let's take a look at the CL. I was waiting on this 8230 all night, and it finally gave me what I needed in the aftermarket, and now it is bouncing again. This is yesterday's VWAP action. I also believe that oil is caught in this space, but this was a very nice bounce zone, a very nice fade off 84 coming into this area. This is the framework that we're in. Dips are buy zones in general into 83.70 to 83.90, at which point I think the sellers start accumulating into 84.30, and then we're back down in the channel again. I do not see price resolution there in the near term. Lastly, let's take a look at gold. My suspicion is that gold comes down into the 2300 area. Probably going to try a bounce there, right? Fill the gap, potentially 2302 for those of us who like to trade gold. That's what I'm looking for because I do believe the price action is essentially range bound. I do see some potential currency events, but hard to say what's going on. I do suspect the range. Again, how do you look at it? You wait until it comes into the zone, and then you collapse down into the tight price action events, and you say, all right, what's happening? Am I failing to make lower lows? Am I breaking above frontline resistance? So yes to the failing to make lower lows, no to the breaking above resistance. So I'm going to duplicate this line and bring it down here so we can see where the price action events are stopping. And then we can see, listen, could you say, I'm going to take a quick long right here, and I'm going to have my stop 2 points wide? Absolutely. That's a fine space to do it. But trend is telling you there are still sellers that are trying to get out of gold. And I do believe that gold is in a rotation down. I suspect if it weren't for the currency issues that it would already be at 2200, which is my target. Okay, in any case, that's all we've got, folks. You can stop the frame and look at the RTY, see where those levels are. But that's it for me, and I'll see you on the platforms. See you on the Benzinga Options Show today at 11, and I'll see you for Top Quiz on Top Step TV. Take care, everyone.